Hey guys, welcome back. I finally made it to my office. Today is a lot of things to cover for Bitcoin because there is again something brewing that we need to talk about that many traders are missing out on. If you want to know what I'm talking about, then let's go, guys. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in here again on this Sunday. From now on, every single day will be again regular videos until potentially the day where I have to travel. But then again, without any interruption. So, and now without any further ado, let's jump directly into the charts because there's a lot to cover here. And again, my dog is annoying me to walk him, so I have to be a little bit quick here. Here on the Bitcoin CME chart, we have currently a CME gap from Friday's closing point of $97,735 to $95,170, where we are currently trading around, more or less, give it $100 or $200. So that is over $2,000 gap. So now we know that when we have a gap like that, price will come back up to fill this gap. Most likely by Monday, Tuesday, latest by Wednesday. If it's then not happening, then we have an actual problem. I am confident that in the next 48 hours, this will be actually closed and that we then resume to go to the upside, because we talked about that Bitcoin had to come down a little bit because the timeframes were overheated. And now we are basically in the final stage of bottoming out locally and going back to the upside. I'm going to show that to you here also right now. So here on the daily chart, as you can see, we are following this overall trajectory that we had mapped out a long time ago here already. We got our golden cross that we were talking about, got the pump that we needed. Now the price will most likely come back at one point to touch the 50 moving average, currently at $91,600 approximately. But of course, the longer we are trading here in the upper range of $95,000, the higher the 50 will go. And that could mean that at some point we're going to touch it at $94,000, $95,000 if we can hold on to the current range that we are trading in. So regardless of that, how low that pullback will be, it will be a higher low, and from that higher low we're going to start breaking the structure and continue into the higher levels. But when we look at the indicators, they are of course now signaling a downwards trend over the next couple of days, at least on the daily chart. Only the daily RSI is slightly turning around here. If we get a turnaround, then things might be really bullish over the next couple of days, because then also here on the MACD we're going to get a bounce, and the stochastic will also then start turning around here and give us another push to the upside. And then I expect, if that will be the scenario, that around $100,000 we get a proper rejection, come then back to the 50 moving average wherever it is, and then only then continue the upwards move. On the this daily chart here, you can see that we have soon another golden cross coming up here with the 50 and 200 moving average. That is most likely going to happen between next Sunday and the following week, Wednesday. In between there, I see here that time frame playing out. So when we go here, so if I extend this now to the current level, see here, somewhere at that point we should get an inflection where we cross and get the golden cross. And again, when we get this golden cross, we're going to get another pump here to the upside. On the 4-hourly chart here, the overall trade setup is still intact, guys. Nothing has changed there. I'm also still in this trade myself. I'm going to show you here a pattern that's actually shaping up right now. Remember that I warned you about these reversal plots here on the MDX Algo Scalp Gradient when they're happening. So usually we get a reversal here. Here we kind of just chop sideways and got another pump, but this time we actually got here a proper small pullback of roughly $2,000, $2,500 to the downside, with that bearish divergence here on the reactor indicator, and also here now a bottom forming on the reactor indicator that should also slowly but surely turn around, and the same with the price action going back into that resistance cluster all the way up here in the golden ratio at $96,700 to $97,580. So like I said, I'm still here myself currently in that trade setup. As you can see, nothing has really changed there. I am still not ready to set a stop loss here. I do that when I doubled the position. If that's not already, when I doubled the position, so halfway to the target, that's where I'm gonna set a stop loss. but not before that. Until then, I'm gonna let this run here to the upside. 17% on this trade, $1,000 roughly, and yeah, nothing really has changed here for me to take any action on that trade. Again, if you want to trade with me together, guys, you can still win a ticket to the Formula One to Miami. Yeah, Miami and actually Monaco. You only need to sign up here and take part in a lucky draw. Every single day you have a chance to win here something. You're definitely going to win something of that wheel here. It does not matter really what, in my opinion, what you win, but you're definitely going to win something. And the more you trade, the more tickets you get to take part in a lucky draw every single day, guys. You can get like 100 tickets if you want. And how high are the chances then to actually get a free day VIP ticket or the F1 paddock pass, which is worth $10,000 to $20,000, guys. You know, even if you sell it, you know, it's $10,000 to $20,000 worth to have a paddock pass, depending on where the race is happening. So use the link in the pinned comment below and in the description to take your part in a lucky draw. Because what do you have to lose, you know? So you get like, I think, a ticket or two just for signing up, you know? So plus a 50% cashback on your initial deposit. Here on this 4-hourly chart with the liquidation levels, so you see now here why I'm still remaining bullish for an upwards move, because we have here a falling wedge pattern on the 4-hourly chart. We're currently on the 4-hourly 50 moving average, and this is usually a good level for a bounce and also for a trade setup. So if you miss the initial trade setup, now this computer starts lagging again a little bit because it's old. Need to get a new one. So here, that would be a new trading setup. I will admit this is a little bit more risky than the other one because you're basically coming late to the party to that actual trade, you know. So, but nonetheless, the risk reward is worth it here. 4.73 to 1. Here roughly 5% to the upside against a 1% stop loss. So risk reward ratio is definitely okay here if you want to take that trade. Here's also still some high leverage liquidity all the way up to $98,000 currently that most likely will be taken out. But we should also not ignore the fact that if market makers really want to, with low liquidity on the weekend, drive price here to like 93,000, then push it back up into higher liquidity, high leverage short liquidity, and create here a deviation just to get people out of their positions before they are going to send it into higher levels. So now here on the liquidation heat map, you see also the $98,000 level. It has a lot of confluence with what I just said here. There will be a short squeeze triggered around $96,900 in my opinion. That will get us all the way up there. But here, as you can see, at $95,000 approximately, there's also some concentrated long liquidity that this could be taken first before we are going then to the upside, but that would be absolutely fine because that is just fuel, you know, fuel to the fire to get that move that we are looking for. So now with the Bitcoin dominance, I have made some slight adjustments to that chart. So here that red area is basically the big resistance for the Bitcoin dominance that we don't want to break, so but that we gonna scratch on. So that could mean that we go halfway up here, that it could mean that we go all the way to the top, and from there start breaking to the downside. So, and the goal is that you start selling your altcoins when we reach this level down here, because that was usually, so here for the last couple of years, always major support for the dominance, and that was usually then also when the altcoin season was over. So, and that is the moment where you want to be 100% out of your altcoin positions. Regardless of that, I will start selling anywhere under 44%. That's where I start selling in increments my position. The lower we go, the more I'm gonna sell on the Bitcoin dominance, because that means the prices go higher and also more volatile higher. So in every single time I'm gonna keep selling, and you should do the same. So now we are waiting for that breakdown. Let the dominance spike up here into that major resistance. We got over the last years always rejected from there with deviations, no deviations. But once we are getting that from there, we should then finally get the turnaround to the downside. The total free market cap again got rejected. I mentioned that this could be happening, that we get rejected here from 835 almost $36 billion. We are currently finding support at roughly $793 billion. So as long as that level is holding, we should also get here a bounce in the next coming days, trying again to break that level, and then we should actually succeed, because we should not forget here is an inverse head and shoulders pattern right now forming. and with the neckline at $836 billion. So and once that neckline is broken, that will send us to like $968 billion based on the technical target of this inverse head and shoulders pattern that we are seeing here. All my altcoins are, of course, again, traded on Bybit, guys. There you find all my altcoin positions. You can also copy trade me there again. Plus you get a $500 free airdrop position, plus that you can get $30,000 in sign-up bonuses. So make use of that. All these coins that I mentioned here can be traded. You only need to click the link in the description in the pinned comment below. It's one of the first links to click on to sign up there, and you have another 33 days to do that. But don't wait that long, guys. Don't wait that long because they're limited. I don't know to what number. They never tell us, but at some point they're saying, hey, it's enough. And yeah, then they're gonna change it again. So make use of that right now or tomorrow, and not wait like another week or so, you know. So there's a link, like I said, in the pinned comment and in the description below. Now Ethereum, the overall trade setup that we have here is fine. We are definitely here in profit. It looks like that we are flagging here a little bit above the VPVR, and we're trying to break out of that bull flag. So if we break out of that, the next stop would be $1,920 then. Here is a new trade setup. Currently, we are slightly below the entry price of $1,840. The target is the same, $1,970. That's more than enough, even here in that trade setup. This is roughly 19% of a profit. Here, of course, that is way more juicier if you are managed to get into that one. And why I'm saying you should still stay in it is because here on the stochastic RSI, we are getting a buy signal right now. The RSI is slightly turning around, and we are not too bearish on the MACD. We are just chopping around major resistance or prior resistance, which was the longest bar on the VPVR. But once we're getting here a clean break to the upside into the next longest bar of the VPVR, then you're going to see that this turns all massively bullish. Now with Solana, on the 1 hourly chart, we are here in this downward sloping trending channel. I can also switch this to a 4 hourly chart, because, and we are still overall in this falling broadening wedge. So I believe once we're breaking this downward sloping trend line, that dashed one, in that downward sloping channel, that we're gonna get an attempt to break here $150 on Solana and potentially go all the way up here to $157. Again, that overall trade setup is still valid. We are really close to the original entry. So if you miss that trade, you can enter here, because look at the indicators. Stochastic giving a buy signal right now, MACD showing fading momentum on the sell side, and the RSI is creeping here to the upside. So also here everything looks really bullish for a nice move into higher prices. And the next imminent bigger stop will be at $155 to $157. And if you are in this overall trade setup, I recommend you to take some money off the table and not round trip it. For example, if you would have been in the trade and you would have gotten up here to $152, where I also told you take some money off the table, you would have round tripped now your profit, you know, and are basically a break even again. So you don't want to do that. For that reason, I'm telling you, take some money off the table, set your stop loss somewhere here at $149 when we get to $155, $157, and see what's going to happen. If we keep breaking higher, amazing, you close the trade completely. If we are coming down and you get stopped out, also fine, we find a new entry and adding then our winnings to it to compound our profit. So also here on the daily chart, the EMA ribbon just turned around. So here, I think today could be the last day of downwards movement based on stochastic RSI, and also the RSI is slightly turning around, and the MACD also doesn't show any huge signs here of continuation to the downside, while we are forming here a falling wedge pattern also with the candles. So the only problem here is we could still chop around a little bit until potentially, yeah, for another 10 days, 7 to 10 days before we get a break. So if we are getting a break earlier, then this was, then I needed to adjust then. Yeah, actually, let's leave it for now like this. If it turns out to be a falling wedge, then we just extend these lines. Next one is Ondo. Ondo also falling wedge pattern on a 12-hourly chart. Look at this. We are flatlining on a 12-hourly stochastic RSI going sideways, MACD showing signs of weakness on the sell side. So buyers are stepping in. So also here we should get a bounce really soon to the upside with a breakout out of that falling wedge pattern. And here I believe the first stop will be around $1.11. So if we get this, that is almost a 30% move if I see this correctly, but we need to enter for roughly here for that trade. I will not enter before 23.5% roughly. That's absolutely fine. with a 4.5% stop loss. So that would be my trade setup here for Ondo. But you need to wait for that break. You know, you cannot enter now and say, oh, I make more profit. You know, so that is risky, guys, because there's still a chance to come all the way down into the bottom to like 75 cents. You know, so if there's one flush, you will get wiped out on that trade setup, and that's what we don't want. So you need to wait that we break 90 cents to get into it, and there's still 23.5% then profit, which is more than enough once we're getting this. So then render, oh wow, we got a crazy bounce here from the golden ratio, which is now acting as support. Earlier we were all the way down here at $4.24, so that is a 3%. Yeah, 3% bounce, so really strong bounce here. Again, on the 4-hourly chart, everything looks like that we're turning around. I knew that there will be a sell-off from $4.91. That's why I told you to take some profit there, because the overall trade setup here was anyway done. I only told you that I go a little bit higher. So you should have been out there, banked the profit. Amazing, guys, roughly 13%. Now, yeah, we basically came back to our entry, more or less, yeah, really close to it. So I hope some of you guys maybe caught that. And let me know in the comments if you actually caught that, that trade here again, because now you can just trade this again back to the original target. So if you would enter now, it would be still roughly 10%. You know, it would be still worth entering that, and I would just take the stop loss to the bottom of the wicked candle. So that would be a 1.74% stop loss against almost 10.6% profit. Definitely worth taking the trade. Can even extend this, because I think we're going to come back to $4.91, and then we're talking about roughly 14% of profit here. So, and look at this bullish setup, you know, so that is extremely bullish in my opinion. Gonna get a turnaround here over the next couple of days. We need to wait, you know, we need to wait and hanging in there. Guys, that's it already for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm back in my studio. And don't forget, smash up the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you with more profit tomorrow.